Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in for yet another video. I hope the previous videos have helped you, have given you some knowledge on how to deal with a situation like this or deal with people who are in a situation that I have been in. And I also hope that it led you to Christ, because ultimately that's the whole reason that I even started this channel. But guys, today I'm going to talk about dating with HIV. Well, this topic for me is not one that I didn't feel ready to talk about this, because I don't feel like I have enough or experience to speak on this topic. But I will speak on the things I have went through and probably the lessons I have taken from it and how I'm growing through it. Um, how I started, well, how I started dating was uh, immediately after finding out my diagnosis. I told myself that I would take time to myself to just reflect on everything that had happened. I didn't want anything to do with any relationship, and not in a manner of despair, but in a manner of just wanting to be clear minded or clear headed before I get into another relationship, because I was just realizing that I was jumping from relationship to relationship, and that was what got me in the situation in the first place. So it's like, let me just take some time to myself. And not long after I made this decision, a guy came along, and at the time I did tell him that, you know what, I'm not ready for a relationship, I'm not ready for anything at the moment, but I think should you give me time, we can try, you know. And he was not relenting at the time. He was still trying. He was still, you know, trying to just change my mind. And because I was vulnerable at that time, I ended up giving in. I ended up giving in to that relationship and actually trying it. And there were some people that we both knew, the guy and I both knew, that were talking behind my back. But at that time, I acted like I didn't know that things were being said about me to him and to other people behind my back. I acted like I couldn't see anything. I was oblivious to everything. So him and I had not been sexually active when we first met. We took some time dating, and then before we even got to the sexual active part, things were being said about me, and I I could clearly hear the things that were said, because I was moving around people, and they would just throwing hints, and sometimes I would hear conversations without those people knowing that I'm hearing what they're saying. And just I don't know if it was a thing of people not wanting to tell me straight up that we suspect that this is what's happening with you. You have this diagnosis, or it was a matter of just gossip and stuff. So I pretty much didn't care at the time. I still didn't care because even for me, the relationship was just, to pass time, and I didn't expect anything of it, you know, and I was not expecting to get deep into it. And I thought it probably blow over because you know how guys are. One minute he likes you, the next minute he does not like you. He starts as someone who wants to commit to you, and then a week later or 2 weeks later, things have changed. So I thought this would be one of those. And yeah, we continued the relationship, and at the time I was not talking to my friends or anyone. And so it was a bit difficult to navigate the relationship all in all because I was not honest about what was going on with me. And I was also struggling to be honest with him. So I thought to myself that if I'm struggling to be honest to him about my status, then what's the point of this whole relationship? Because it's not fair for me to lie to him about where I am, you know. But selfishly, I continued the relationship, and we got to a point in the relationship where we had to spend time together, a lot of time together, including nights together. And at that time, things happened, but during that time, I made sure that um, condoms were used, because I did not want to put him in danger of being infected. And although he was tempted to want to do things otherwise, I insisted. I was like, no, we cannot even think about not using a condom right now. Okay, cool. And at the time, he made a joke about what what's the worst thing that could happen? Could you be HIV? Could you have, or could you be HIV positive? And I was like, the joke, I didn't laugh, but it just kind of made me think that he was probably believing some of the things other people were saying. But I just shrugged it, and we moved on. And that was the last time we spent time together, because after I had to leave. I had to leave the city and move to another city due to academics. And yeah, he didn't move with me at the time, but him and I were still keeping in touch. We were still talking, we were still dating. So it went from um a relationship where we were trying to now a long distance relationship. And that came as a relief to me because the guilt of just not telling him. I mean, I could live with not telling everyone else, but not telling him became the hardest thing that I was doing at that time. And I knew that I was not ready to tell him. And so while I was away, I was going through my things, and um that's the time that I even got saved. And after I got saved, I knew that I had to break the relationship up. But I didn't know how. I was what was going to be the reason that I went out, because normally people need reasons. They need a clear reason why you want to end the relationship. So that was the problem. And so I looked for everything that he did wrong. It was just, you know what, it's over. You know what, it's over. Those kind of things. And eventually, I did end it. I don't remember what I ended it over, but I did end it. I was like, I cannot. Actually, I told him that I need time to myself in order to think about everything. I just said I needed time to myself, and I needed time away from him. And yeah, at that time, after a long time of just us breaking up and getting back together, he started to just be numb to me saying that I needed time, I needed space, I needed this, I needed that, you know. And since I had left the city to move to another city, we had never seen each other, and I was always coming up with excuses for us not to be in one place. So I think he was tired, and he said, okay, if you need time, I'm going to give you time. And honestly, the guy did really like me, because he was just there. He was just there for me a lot. And I feel like I've never really spoken to him about this, but I think he knew about my diagnosis, but he wanted me to say it. He knew, and he did not care. He still wanted to be with me regardless, but he wanted me to admit to him that this is what's going on, you know. So, and he protected me also from the opinions of those people who were telling him those things. He was just hiding whatever they were saying to him on the phone, and while they were talking, he wouldn't tell me what they were saying and stuff like that. But after I took the break, I completely shut off all communications with him, and I also took time from social media. And yeah, at first it was not planned. I didn't take social media break. because I wanted to at the beginning, but I was going through it and I didn't want to be scrolling up and down social media while I'm going through it because it makes things worse. And so I just took time out and deleted all my social media accounts and just sat with myself and God and the Bible and just went in and tried to heal some of the things that were still painful for me in that moment. And I think it took about a year and a few months until I reached out, which is, when did I reach out? Last year, October or November, 2023, October, November. And I did reach out to him and I was checking to see how he was doing. Just me checking and passing through. And he responded and he was still very much waiting for me. At that time, I was just hopeless as far as relationships. I was just like, I don't think relationships are for me. But I was also going through counseling during this time, so my counselor was talking to me about dating and relationships, and she was telling me that I did not have to close myself up to that the idea of dating completely. I just had to be honest when I get into relationships and be upfront about what is happening with me, and should the person reject me, that's okay. I shouldn't take it personal, but take it as their preference. And yeah, after reaching out to him, we arranged to meet, and then I would postpone it. I would postpone it. Be like, I had a lot of excuses because I was still scared of what if, you know, how is he going to react about this? And yeah, I had a lot of fears around it. I didn't know how he was going to react. I asked myself, what if he rejects me? What if he's angry that I didn't say it from the beginning? You know, a lot of what ifs. And eventually I decided that it was best that I speak to him whether or not him and I have that relationship, so that he knows that, or he gets closure as to why our relationship ended in the first place. And um and we did meet eventually and we spoke. And us speaking, I told him the whole truth of what was happening. And even then, it was still hard for me to tell him. I remember the day that I told him. We were sitting at a park just outside, and I told him that I had something to say. And thankfully, he had something to say to me too, that he felt like it was an embarrassment to him. So I said, we can just um, face the other direction while the other person listens, and he would do the same afterwards. And he went first and told me his I think, did I tell him? Or I don't remember who went first, but we did tell each other what we needed to tell each other. And I told him, and after telling him, the first thing that he did was to just hug me and embrace me and kiss me and all those things. Just show me love, that or comfort me and let me know that this is not gonna make me love you less, but I love you even more. And after that, he told me his secret, and I also returned the energy. And yeah, that's when we picked up from where we had left off, and we dated until until we dated. So yeah, and then what happened so far, I'd I've never felt like he has treated me any less of a human being. I've never felt any discrimination from him. I've never felt anything other than love from him. And I don't know how that happens. I could have gotten someone who is the opposite of that. The situation does not always go as mine has went, but um, from this experience, I experienced nothing but love. I like it was just overwhelming love from him. He does not care what other people say about me. He does not care about anything that anyone has to say. Like he's just down for everything. And he still protects me from other people's opinions, which I think he shouldn't do because I can handle it right now. But otherwise, I think the situation could have went either way. He could have been angry that I didn't tell him from the beginning, or you know whatever. But at the end of the day, there are lessons that I picked up from this experience, is that at the end of the day, it's about the relationship that you have with yourself. How do you see yourself? Do you value yourself regardless of other people seeing you less, as one who does not deserve XYZ? Do you still love yourself? You know, anyone else can come in and say what they have to say about you that is negative, but then at the end of the day, what do you think about yourself? It does not matter what anyone else thinks, but what do you think about yourself? And it's like my counselor has said that whatever other people have to say about you, it's really not anything personal. It's not about you, but it's about them or their preference. Because somebody can say, I prefer to date someone who is chubby, I prefer to date somebody who is slim, or I prefer to date somebody who's so and so. And if you're not any of those things, that shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't bother you. There are a million other people who appreciate you as you are. So have that relationship with yourself that would allow you to block out anything that does not serve you, anything that does not have anything to do with you should bounce back. You shouldn't be absorbing it. And yeah, guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you like, share, subscribe, comment down below what you think about dating while having HIV and some of the encounters that you've had while you were going through life. Have you ever been with someone who has disclosed their status to you, and how did you react? And another thing is, I want to let someone out there who is in an abusive relationship know that you don't have to stay in that relationship because you think your status makes you less of a person or less valuable. There's still other people out there who would appreciate you just the way you are. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Next time.